Hello everyone, Insane Frame here, welcome to another video. Hope you're doing okay. We're back from Defending the Earth in XCOM 2 and we're going to get straight into this one as today we're going to the lands of New Vegas and today we ask the question, can you beat Fallout New Vegas only using items from a campfire? For this challenge we can't make any weapons from a campfire, so we'll default to using our fists as that's the weapon we start with. And whilst we can only use what we make from a campfire, we can still use doctors and items we find throughout New Vegas. So it'll be very interesting for sure, and definitely a different playthrough, as the fact we can only use Gecko armor will be a limiting factor early game. So we'll be running around without a set of armor for a while, and yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Anyway, let's get straight on to the rules. We can only use healing items and armor crafted from a campfire. Aid items found throughout the world are allowed, no glitter exploits, no cheating or modding, and we're going to be playing on very hard difficulty with hardcore enabled. So with that, let's get straight into the game. We start on up in the New Vegas clinic with a friendly face and Doc Mitchell, and we get asked our name. We decide on the name Genos as we will be punching a lot of things, but not one-shotting them mind you, so it seems fitting. We put all of our items in a chest before we begin and we decide our stats. We go with 4 strength, 3 perception, 10 endurance, 1 charisma, 7 intelligence, 7 agility and 10 luck. We decide our stats with a good doctor, and anyone who's new here, a quick explanation is the skills labelled on the left have a corresponding number next to them. All you need to know is the higher the number the better, to a maximum of 100. And at this point we can tag 3 skills, which raises their respective score by 15 points. So we decide to opt for survival, speech and unarmed, kinda standard in a playthrough like this. Last but not least, we get traits. These are unique benefits with a downside, some sort of trade-off if you will. We can select up to 2, so we select heavy-handed, so our unarmed base damage is increased, however our crit damage is decreased. A absolute staple in unarmed builds. We also go for hot-blooded, so if we fall below 50% of our health, we do 10% more damage, however we suffer -2 agility and perception respectively. So with all that out the way, we get a farewell and we enable hardcore mode as well, so we have to take care of our food, water and sleep, otherwise we suffer stat penalties. When we leave, we get to the reservoir to punch some geckos, but we get some gecko meat which will help out. We go to the trailer and we find a wasteland survival guide and we use it to get a small bump to our survival skill, as every little bit helps. After exploring around for a bit, we go for a pass and run for our dear lives into a shack to avoid the Deathclaw roaming around the area. After we cautiously leave the area, we manage to sneak away and go on over to Novak. We decide to visit Boone, who is as cheerful as ever and wants us to find his wife's killer. So we go ahead and pickpocket a safe key and break into the safe to find a bill of sale, so we know who done the deed, people. We decide to take the culprit, and when the time is right, we take her head off, which is excellent. Justice has been served. Ow! Be a bit too brutally, but when we go to Boone and hand in the quest, we get to level up. We put all of our points into unarmed and survival, and as for our perk, we go for hunter, so we can deal plus 75% crit damage, allowing us to grind XP on animals much easier. We decide to head on up to Boulder City and say hello to the Great Khans. There is a hostage situation. We managed to get ourselves just 2 level ups, which is ridiculous after our conversation with Jessup, and we decide our first level up we go all in on unarmed. For our second level up we decide to go for a touch of survival and more unarmed, getting up to 75 unarmed skill, which is awesome. For our perk, we decide to go for Confirmed Bachelors. We deal 10% more damage to male opponents, which is very, very good. We watch the NCR clean house and we decide to loot what we can. Then we go and sell everything to the trading post, gain some decent caps for the early game. Very nice indeed. Once we do more exploring, we get another level up, and yet again we put all our points in survival to boost it to 63, which is just awesome, as we can cook lots of items now, especially healing items. Prim is next on the list, and we find 2 wrongdoers and find some turbo on one of them, which we'll definitely hold on to, and we go south to the dry lake and start punching lots of ants for XP. After we get bored, we sell the rest of our stuff from the Great Khans to get over 2,000 caps. But to press our cap advantage, we use our 10 luck in the Atomic Wrangler in Freeside to play some blackjack. We get a small amount of chips, and once we're done, we get an absolutely amazing payout of over 6,000 caps. Very nice indeed. We can now stroll straight into the New Vegas Strip, so we can come here anytime now, which is excellent. Then we get ourselves to the New Vegas Medical Clinic to buy the Subdermal Implant for 8,000 caps. This is expensive, however it does give us a lovely +4 armor, which we'll certainly need as we do most runs. We go near Helios 1 and start punching ants that shoot fire, which is interesting, but after we destroy a few of them, we level up. We go for more unarmed, and for our perk we get toughness rank 1, giving us a permanent +3 armor. This with our implant gives us a total of 7, which isn't half bad. After our punching escapades, we decide to go to the Ultra Luxe Casino in New Vegas. We begin clearing them out of their caps as 10 luck is just absolutely ridiculous. Once we get our winnings, we decide to go back to the medical clinic to get several implants. So we go for +1 intelligence, +1 agility and +1 strength, costing us a fair penny, but it's definitely worth it to boost our special stats significantly as we are becoming a absolutely awesome cyborg. We quickly go to the NCR outpost to get a quest from Ranger Jackson, so we stick to punching the ants and clearing the way for Ranger Jackson is pretty straightforward, and once we're done we go see him to hand in the quest. We then decide to go help Deputy Beagle. It's actually pretty challenging and takes several tries as we have to gradually chip away at the enemy. But once we get through using trial and error, we decide to let Deputy Beagle free. Lieutenant Haynes is notified that Prim needs a sheriff and he wants a extra section under his command to come and help him out. So we go up the chain of command to Major Knight, and due to getting the road freed up, we manage to get some support to Prim. We go back to Lieutenant Haynes and hand in the quest, so all is good. We decide to go around hunting powder gangers for easy experience, and it's pretty easy and they give pretty good XP, so we level up. We finally get 100 in unarmed and 66 in survival. With our max unarmed skill, the Tops Casino starts chasing us around and we take out some of Benny's entourage, which is absolutely lovely. We even managed to handle some of Benny's guards upstairs using a bit of roughhousing, which helps us out massively. We decide to confront Benny and he gets a haymaker to the face, and we just constantly keep pummeling this slippery fellow in his checkered suit. When he's taken out, we get the platinum chip and we leave with a level up. We put all of our points into survival, and as for our perk, we go with toughness rank 2, so we get a total of +6 armor, and combined with our implant we have a total of +10, which is not too shabby at all. Needing more XP and also some crafting items, we decide to go to the North Passage. Once there, we speak to someone and start the Honest Hearts DLC. The cutscene plays and the gauntlet is set. I've never done this DLC before, so a little bit of disclaimer, but it starts out very gruesome as everyone is killed almost instantly. We simply run across the bridge and we meet Follow Chalks, and he says that we should go back and take the people out. So we let him follow us around, and he's actually really good in a fight, so we let him follow us around, and then we see a giant mutated Yogai, which is absolutely terrifying, showing us what this area is capable of. We follow the trail and get our feet wet to get to the camp, and once at the camp we meet the man of the hour, Joshua Graham, the former legate of the Legion. However, we decide to offer some help to him and he wants us to gather up some items. So we get to the school bus, we salvage the compass, we fight a guy with Follow Chalks, and since he's assisted us we get a level up. We go all in on survival, which is absolutely great. We get the most out of Follow Chalks as we take out some geckos and get the keys, allowing us to get the walkie-talkies from the fishing lodge. And lastly, we go to the general store and snatch up the lunch boxes from the general store, completing the item hunt without a bus. We meet Daniel and hand over the items for our scavenger hunt. He says about another objective to us and hands us some explosives, which is cool. We complete the quest and get a level up. We get 100 survival skill along with some melee weapons, and for our perk we decide to go with intense training, raising our strength to 6. Follow Chalk is no longer in our employ, which is fair enough as he's more than earned his place. We instead get a person called Waking Cloud who's armed with a death claw, as you do, and on our way out, Joshua decides to say certain references and we respect him and even decide to see what he's got for sale. It's all natural aid items which can make a big difference in battle, and we can make them at a campfire, so we go absolutely nuts and buy everything from him. Once that's done, we decide to go into a cave, explore around, plant some explosive charges, and it's all okay, as we then detonate the charges, trapping everything inside. Job's a good one. Next, we take a concoction of things and take the weapon binding ritual, improving our unarmed damage, allowing us to destroy the tribe, planting the traps around the area. We go ahead and get some more XP as they are not really that difficult and we just take them out no problem. We also decide to take some totem poles and run away from the tribe, allowing us to level up. We decide to put points in melee weapons, which is very nice indeed. Lastly, we go into a cave and find a key in the midst of the action and get into a room to nab an audio log. We hand everything to Daniel, which is great, and he gives us a choice. We choose to think it over, but we have a large amount of XP and a level up yet again, and we spread our points out a lot. and we get our first staple ability that allows us to knock down enemies. It's none other than Super Slam, a very powerful perk indeed. As a side note, we also track down a green gecko and put it down to get ourselves a green gecko hide, which is excellent. Once our personal side quest is done, we go back to Daniel and tell him that we want to side with Joshua Graham, as we can get even more XP fighting, and sure enough, we have Joshua spawn with us, and we abuse the heck out of him as he fires on anything that moves, which gives us a huge advantage, so much so that we level up again from the amount of killing he's done, and we decide to put points into Sneak for a perk later on. We get to a campfire and start crafting many healing items. The encampment is actually very easy, but Joshua then leaves us and we're set to fend for ourselves through a cave. It's actually pretty tough, but we use hit and run tactics and heal up to gradually chip away at the enemy's health until they fall one by one, making it easier for us. With each one that falls, we eventually overpower them thanks to Super Slam being an absolute beast. We keep going up the river and eventually we see Joshua being quite extreme in his methods, but we agree with him, as in this instance we've got to fight anyway, so Joshua will be on our side during the fight, and sure enough he's soloing the tribe and we go against the tribe's leader. It's pretty easy as Super Slam does his thing, we just wail on the guy whilst Joshua just destroys everyone. It's really simple, as we even confiscate his power fist weapon, but when the time comes we deal the finishing blow, complete the Honest Hearts DLC, and we level up yet again and go for Sneak. We go for our next perk, which is another staple, which is Piercing Strike, allowing us to ignore 15 points far with our unarmed strikes. We get the Honest Hearts slideshow, which is cool, but we have to once again move on to the main game. Back in the Mojave, we immediately go south and find golden geckos. We decide to slay one for his hide, and it's for the taking. We then have a little bit of trouble with the fire geckos, but we do manage to get one of their hides too. But it's then the moment of truth as we go to a campfire and we construct the reinforced metal gecko armor, which is amazing as it adds a fairly hefty amount of armor, which is excellent. We take the armor out for a spin at the Tops Casino, killing many of the chairmen. They really can't do anything against us, and we just absolutely obliterate them. Once everything's done, we go to the Lucky 38 and hand over the platinum chip and deliver it to Mr. House, who's very happy we're there. We see the Securitrons get upgraded to Securitron Mark IIs, and they look excellent, and we get enough XP to level up and put more of our points into Sneak. It's time to go to Cottonwood Cove. Once we get there, we take the boat on up to the Legion's camp. And once we get to the Legion's camp, we go on in to speak to Caesar, and he is not happy and looks like a tomato, so we just make sure to just leave him be and go straight to the weather station. We get the platinum chip and put it in the machine, and we go on into the bunker. Mr. House on the monitor and tasks us with waking up the Securitron army stationed here. So we go on through and start smashing everything in our path. It's actually very straightforward due to Piercing Strike, and many of the droids are beaten back. The turrets we can just move side to side and strike them down, and once we get through we knock around some Protectrons. They are no match for us. But in the final room we just run in, upload the data and run straight back out, as 3 turrets are a little bit too much for us, and we've already achieved our goal, so we go on and return to Caesar to get some XP, which is excellent. However, we also go ahead and learn the Praetorian unarmed strike, so we now have an offensive move charging into battle. We decide to go back to the medical clinic and get the regenerating implant, which cost a whopping 12,000 caps, but we now heal gradually over time, which is always a nice quality of life improvement. After we explore around the Mojave, we bump into a Bonnie and Clyde duo. We decide to beat the crap out of them, and after our fight, we level up. We put all of our points in Sneak, and for our perk we go for Adamantium Skeleton, so we take 50% less limb damage. Very useful. Back at Mr. House we hand in the quest to get more XP, and once all is done we decide to make Mr. House pay for his assumptions. We activate a terminal to go into his control room, and we sprint on in and use the lift to go into Mr. House's personal chamber. We meet Mr. House face to face, and it's just business. We give him several good punches until he is out of commission. Yes Man is notified and meets us at the Lucky 38 to take over Mr. House's operation. With everything sorted, Yes Man says we need to get to know everyone, so we take a look into the other casinos, don't really do anything, the Gamoras are spared and the White Glove Society are polite, so we move on to more grinding. So we punch more powder gangers to get more XP and we grind to level 17. So we increase our melee weapons and sneak, and after our level up we go to the boomers. We run to avoid the artillery fire and we go to our specific spot so we can wait without the barrage hitting us, which is absolutely wonderful. And then we just walk on to say hello to the guy with the missile launcher. But when we're introduced to Per, we don't really need to do anything, but we do go to Helios 1 and pick up some solar panels. We get the solar array repaired, and we also go to deal with the ants in the generator room, which aren't too bad as we hard counter them, which is excellent. And once the last of them are dealt with, we report to Raquel to gain some XP, and we do the same to Loyal, who also gives us XP. The Great Khans are next on our list, and we begin going to Red Rock Canyon, and once there we start seeking them out to brutally destroy them, as the Great Khans don't really stand a chance, and we make sure to just kill them through and through. We even have a delightful level up in the process, which is excellent, and we get our final staple perk of the run, which is Paralyze and Palm, which allows us to stun opponents for 30 seconds at a time, which is just brilliant. We test it out with a weapon binding ritual and Yogai Stake to destroy everyone in their entirety. It's just an absolute blast, which is just heck yes. Papa Khan didn't really have any chance of beating us, so sorry Papa Khan, but your tribe is now destroyed. Anyway, lastly, we visit the Brotherhood of Steel as they accuse us of trespassing, but we kind of have to comply, otherwise they'll blast us with lots of weapons. So we get escorted to the Elder, which is interesting as Elder McNamara tasks us with dealing with a ranger. To make sure we do the job though, we are fitted with an explosive collar and kicked out the base. It's very simple as we just go up to the ranger radio and we get a prompt to destroy it. And then we just run away and report back to Elder McNamara. The collar is then removed, allowing us to resume our business. We then go back to Yes Man and say that we want to ignore pretty much everybody and let them do their own thing, as none of them have anything bad aside from the Great Khans, who are now removed entirely. Yes Man wants us to install an override chip in the El Dorado power plant, so we go ahead and do so easily enough. However, we still have more work to do despite uploading the override chip, and we begin grinding in the dry lake, and Helios 1 fire ants are giving us a run for our money, but after we destroy a few of them, we get a level up, so we hit level 19 and go for speech and melee weapons to help us out. But we're not done yet, as we just continue our XP grind much the same, and we just keep bashing more ants in until we get to level 20. We go for speech with our points and go for our perk Ninja, so we get plus 15% crit chance with our unarmed strike, allowing us to deal lots of damage. We head on over to Yes Man and we're finally ready for Hoover Dam, so we go ahead and get the prompt on screen and we accept. When we arrive on the dam, we decide to let the NCR forces take some shots, and then we just run as fast as we can past all of the enemy forces into the tower whilst getting shot at. But once inside the tower, we can use the sing and heal up all the way back up to full HP. When we go down the stairs to the main control room, we get into quite the tussle with two heavy NCR troopers, as they have big guns, and once we take one of them out with many stuns, the second one is just stun locked and letting us just completely destroy them with no issues, even though it does take a while. Once in the control room, we power up the Securitron army and we leave and make our way to the power box to pull the lever to power up the generators in the power plant. We exit to the second half of the bridge, which is extremely easy as the Securitrons pretty much do all the work for us, letting us just stroll forwards and giving them a little bit of assistance here and there. Once we get to the Legate camp, our Paralyze and Palm floors the Praetorians, which makes short work as we can just keep beating them in the face one after the other with little to no issues. However, once we come to the Legate, he is one tough cookie. We decide to get up on the ledge and take many of the aid items we bought from Joshua Graham, and we become a Super Saiyan. We get a sneak attack off on one of the Praetorians and we pop our turbo to go absolutely ridiculous on them. With a touch of rushing water, we are now attacking 50% faster, which allows us to wipe them out with a few well-placed strikes. And admittedly, this did take a fair few attempts. However, now we have to deal with the Legate, and he has reinforcements coming to help him. But since we're stocked up on food, we decide to stun the Legate and eat as much as we can so we can heal through the damage. We let Paralyze and Palm do its thing, and we go to town on the Legate until we can stamp him out of existence. It does take a while, but we exhaust pretty much all of our food and begin killing the legionaries once the Legate is dead. With weapon binding ritual, it makes it quite trivial, honestly, and once we deal with the guards one after the other, our punches makes us win the fight. Now it's time for General Oliver, and we heal up, and when we speak to him, we run like hell to cover, and our health is dangerously low. However, Yes Man speaks to us, and we see General Oliver vaporized in the background behind Yes Man. But we clinch the win just about, and because of that, we end the run. Answering the question, can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only items from a campfire? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can, but it will require a lot of grinding. Okay, so this run was awesome, as playing Honest Hearts for the first time was definitely a fun experience. A short but sweet DLC for sure. It's kind of in its own little bubble, and we pretty much piggybacked off the followers dealing damage, allowing us to gain some much needed level ups until we got the Gecko armor. That was definitely a saving grace. However, it was also the opposite of the workbench run, where we did as much damage as possible. This one we mitigated as much damage as possible, so kind of an interesting sort of play there from the different playstyles. But yeah, both runs were definitely opposites, and yeah, it was certainly a awesome time. Anyway, for the next video, we're going to be doing a fun one and visiting Fallout 4 and see if we can do that game in T60 power armor. It'll be fun, it'll be a demolition derby, so hope to see you there. And as always, like the video if you liked the video, comment down below because it's always good speaking to you guys and I always appreciate what you have to say. Lastly, subscribe if you're new, as you guys are wonderful and you're absolutely awesome. Anyway, I've been Insane Frame, thank you very much for watching, you've all been amazing, and I'll see you all in the next one, so bye bye for now, and take care of yourselves.